Well, welcome everybody. We're going to have our last little get together before the end of the year, and we're not live this time. We're just recording this due to scheduling constraints for the most part. But we've got a special guest, Ryan Colley, with us with Automotive Diagnostic Solutions, and he recently came over from the UK over here to the US and attended a couple training events, Super Saturday, along with some other more regional events, and we got a lot to talk about. So we'd like to hear about his experiences, what's going on, and maybe talk about some of the differences between what we do and what he does. So, Bryn, you want to lead us off with introducing our special guest a little more?
Well, I was wanting to sing London's Calling to introduce Ryan, but apparently we can't do that. So, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really stoked about the relationships that we're starting to build across, the pond, and it's just kind of neat to kind of compare, to some of the challenges and some of the stuff that you guys are dealing with, and compared to what we've got going on over here. So, but really stoked about what you're doing with trying to raise the level of professionalism over there, where in your side of the world. So, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's later over there. That's why we're not recording everybody, because we're on several parts of the planet right now. So, Ryan is of course 5 hours ahead of us, at least on the eastern side here. So, thanks again for joining us. How you did come over to Pennsylvania for Super Saturday back in, I guess it was mid-October, wasn't it?
Yeah, October 12th.
Wow, it's been a while since we've been together. And you stayed with Brandon Steckler while you were there. But even before that, I was just talking about how you're, doing some great things to raise the level of professionalism in the UK over there. You, of course, reached out to Brandon Steckler and had Brandon Steckler do some training over there a few months. I guess probably, has it been a year? When was that?
Yeah, it's probably about a year. I think it was March last year. So it was 9 months approximately. Basically, how it came around was I had a vehicle in my workshop, and it was a Audi S4 V8 engine, and it had a 4-cylinder misfire on one whole bank. We narrowed it down to a timing issue, and then I reached out to Brandon via seeing Facebook and social media posts from him about using different techniques, pressure pulse analysis, WPS, that sort of stuff. And he sent me a message back with a breakdown of everything, what was happening, all the waveforms and what I should be looking for, etc. A 2-page A4 document with a vast explanation of everything that was going on. And then at that point, we was when we first sort of got in touch, really. And then it sort of just bloomed from there, really. We had him over again in March to do his pressure analysis waveform. The idea was that basically I was so taken back by the techniques and things you could see with these testing methods that I thought everyone in the UK needs to see this. So that's exactly where the thought came from to begin with. So was speaking about it, that sort of stuff, and he said he'd be happy to do it. So it was a case of just getting a good community behind me. So thanks to all the guys previously and this coming time as well for supporting both me and Brandon on the course. That's in February next year. So if you haven't booked on that, then there's some more details about that a bit later on perhaps. But Brandon, again, he very helpful guy. He helped anyone. But yeah, generally it was a case of that's how it all started. Really simple, really. But yeah, so we come over this year to Super Saturday, met all the American guys, seen how they done it over here as far as training goes. There's quite a big few differences between us and them. Predominantly, they do quite a lot of training in the evening, where we have much training in the evening. Generally, you're taking a day from work if you go on the training, and it's nice to see that they are doing it that sort of way, really, I guess.
Okay, so going back, you said you first noticed Brandon through like Facebook page groups and stuff, where he was doing some of the analyzing others' captures, maybe doing some of those interactive case studies that he was doing.
Sure.
Some of these Facebook groups.
Yeah,
Cool.
Sure, that's right. I mean, when he had I believe it was he had a misfire, and he was taking a sample from the cooling system because it had a misfire into the cooling system. So he identified that using pressure pulse analysis to identify exactly which cylinder it was, and he done a massive breakdown of what we was all seeing, because to a lot of people it seems like black magic, but if you kind of know how things work and how they operate, like anything, you can narrow it down and get to pull the puzzle pieces together, which is basically what it is, a big puzzle piece. A big puzzle that every little snippet, every waveform you take, whether it be from the tailpipe, from the intake, from the dipstick tube, from in cylinder, it's all just a big puzzle and puzzle pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. I think engine mechanical is something that a lot of technicians, probably over there, but certainly over here as well, a lot of technicians struggle with, because you have to get so invasive, so time consuming to try to verify. So engine mechanical testing using electronic tools like scopes and pressure transducers is sexy as hell. It's not necessarily new, but at the last, I would say 10 years, it's gotten a lot more steam behind it. But Brandon certainly had put a lot of work and effort into it, and he's certainly being able to reap the benefits of it with, I think he's the first that I know of anyways, at least in our inner circles, to be invited over there. So that was really cool that you did so. But that kind of goes back to, sometimes there has been some debate with regard to, the challenges, I'm sure, are same over there, as far as how to instill the drive to want, how to basically get technicians to want to invest in themselves and think more on a career level. I think that we'll all agree that seeing what Brandon has done with getting involved with interactive case studies and getting involved with social media, like automotive specific groups or on like Diag.net and stuff like that, I think is one way that trainers can at least take the front seat and driving technicians into classes, which Richard Falco's done a lot of that too. Been very involved with the Facebook groups, which is pretty cool. So that's where you first saw him, and you're absolutely right. In my opinion, I think we'll all agree that these testing techniques are pretty sexy. So you reached out to him and invited him over. How many classes did he do over there?
He done three classes, three separate classes. So we started in the south of the country. We done it in a place called Training Center, actually. A good friend of mine, James Dillon, he owns it's called Technical Topics. We've done the first one there, and then we traveled from there up to Manchester area with Preston. And then we had another presentation there. I'm sure probably a lot of you may be aware of the guy, Frank Massey. It was actually his workshop and Dave Massey's workshop that we done that presentation in.
Awesome.
And then we left there, and then we had another presentation to do up in Glasgow at Motherwell, and we booked at the Bosch Training Centre. So we attended Bosch for the day, had a look around their place, really nice venue, really nice place. And then a few little trips here and there along the way. So we went to Blackpool Tower just to show them around, to make it a bit more of a holiday rather than all work.
Sure. Yeah.
Day, he's doing us a favor, as much as obviously he's getting paid to do so. At the end of the day, he doesn't have to come over here and help us out. So the least we can do is accommodate him the best we can. I would take him around, show him the sights, that sort of stuff.
I wish he was here. I know that's the opinion. That's the feedback I got, is that you guys really took really good care of him. And I know I've done that a couple of times myself, is invite people into my area to teach. And I think it's important to be a good host and have,
it sounds like he's going to be joining us soon. So,
oh, cool. It's just landed still in the terminal, so he's on the probably getting connected to the bridge there. But
yeah,
cool. He'll be joining us. But I'm guessing he invited you guys to come out to Pennsylvania for Super Saturday, or did you just?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think Steve mentioned it because he come over to visit Keith, I believe. And then on his return, he mentioned it to a group of people, and we all said, "Yeah, that sounds heck cool. Yeah, we want to be there. We want to see that. See how you guys do it." So I think it's about 15 of us in the end.
15. So 15. Yeah. So you're referring to Steve Scott, I think, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so he made you guys aware of this event. Pennsylvania, but for most everybody that's watching knows, but this is a single day training event in Pennsylvania. It feels a lot more than that. Right, is like from from sun up to sundown and beyond, right? It's a pretty hectic day, but it's pretty awesome. But it's pretty awesome. You say 15 of you guys came over for that.
15, that's right, yeah. All different people, obviously different up and down the country. It wasn't one select area, it was all 15 different people from 15 different businesses, pretty much.
Yeah. And these are people that you probably knew like through social networks and stuff, but maybe not. A lot of them you probably met for the first time over here, no? Or no, some of them maybe probably came to your class too, though, classes that you had.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys, our country is obviously as big as yours over there, but we don't see each other as much as maybe we should do. But we do put on, regional get-togethers and stuff like that to sort of catch up and go over testing methods and all that sort of stuff to keep up to date, just like probably you guys do. But no, there was a lot of guys over there that come over with us. It was the first time we met them, or I met them personally, should I say. It was nice to get together to know some, meeting all you guys over there and all that sort of stuff. It was phenomenal.
That's pretty funny that your first time meeting some of the folks from your own, spot over there, you meet them over here for the first time in Pennsylvania. That's pretty awesome.
Need to get out more.
So what was the feedback from most of everybody you talked to? Did everybody enjoy themselves pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, the food.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. They would say they loved it. I mean, every one of them. Nothing bad to say. The training was phenomenal. First class. There was quite a few presenters there on a day. I think you done yourself. Bryn, did you not do some training the same day?
Yeah, Keith Perkins taught an all-day programming class. Keith, and then I taught a all-day Snap-on Scope class. Was there anybody else in here teaching for Super Saturday?
I think Rich taught a CTI class, didn't he? No,
Brandon.
That's right. You participated in Brandon.
Brandon taught two. He taught like two separate 4-hour kind of versions of his pressure transducer classes. Right? Okay.
Yeah, the guys, the reviews that I after speaking to them was that they've never attending such possibly good training, I guess. The way that the trainers put together the courses and the classes was outstanding. It's a lot different, to be fair. The different styles of training. We generally in the UK will do a 3 or 4 hours class, and then the rest of the day is spent in the workshop practicing them skills and methods you've just learned. Whereas obviously you guys do a lot of case studies. Until Brandon come over, I'd never seen that style of training before. Whereas obviously quite common for you guys over there. You use case studies to get a posture points and training. We don't do it that way here. Well, we don't generally. What we will do is you'll attend the training in the morning, finish at 12 a.m. approximately. And then the rest of the day you'll spend it learning what you just was taught in class.
Sounds nice.
Well, I think that's the way I think, as we kind of move forward into wanting to do some of our own training, I think that's how we would really, we feel like that's probably ideal, is to do some classroom stuff and then go ahead.
Reinforce what you just learned. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, we would love to do that. It just doesn't lend itself to the way we do training here, which is 4 hours after everybody's done work, and it'd be great if we could do all day classes and do exactly that.
So a lot of us are kind of advocates, and you mentioned that most of your stuff's in the daytime, which is awesome. I mean, a lot of us here are advocates for pushing toward that. I mean, one of the big topics is, the lack of quality technicians, in the industry, but having any interest to come into this profession. And, in my mind, one of the things is, there's several things that you can do to try to improve that, right? Improve working environments. If you want people to think of this as a career, treat them like it's a career. Teach them, send them to training in class during the daytime instead of having them work a full day and go to class at night, and pay for them to attend the class and pay for the class. So it's pretty cool to hear that you guys are at least doing some daytime training. We wish that we could do a little more of that. But the other thing is probably, you'll probably agree, I mean, there's to scale what we're doing over here, we're doing there's still a very small percentage of the industry that attends training, but we are doing a lot of freaking training. Rich, how many classes do you teach a year?
Around 180.
180 classes.
4-hour classes. Yeah.
I mean, to find a place where you can actually, and you do. I mean, sometimes it's in the parking lot under a poor lit street light, right? But to find a place where you can teach classroom and then just step out into the shop and do it, it's kind of challenging when you're scaling on that kind of scale, I guess. But yeah, I mean, as far as I think everybody agrees, as far as, when Trained by Techs talks about moving toward transition and over doing some training, I think we'd like to do most what we can in that kind of style where you do some classroom-based stuff and back it up in the shop. So,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think technicians learn that way. I mean, that's
Sure.
we take fundamentals that we learn or read or acquire, and then we go and apply them.
And some people simply can't learn by listening. They need to get out there and actually do it, or put their hands on it and make it happen.
That's it. I mean, I can speak from my personal experiences, especially, I don't know, I'm finding now, like now that I'm 40, that I am ADHD, I think. But when I don't know, it took 39 years to figure that out. But, I mean, I have a hard time focusing in class sometimes in the evening, a lot of times. So.
Yeah.
But there are still I mean, I myself learn from lecture really well.
Sure.
So I don't mind 8 hours of class content, and then I can go apply it at my own pace, my own way, and my own level of comfortability. So I think there's places for both, because I could definitely see some technicians really enjoying 4 hours of learning or understanding a new topic, and then 4 more hours of watching case studies of it unfold and applying all the pieces to kind of get a real grasp of it. So,
and I think it's important, if you are in that lecture scenario, to take what you just learned and then go ahead yourself and apply it in the shop,
as soon as you can.
As soon as you can,
absolutely.
to make it concrete,
And that's challenging. I mean, I feel like I would consider myself career-minded, but, the times that I actually go back right away and start applying them in the shop is not as often as it should be, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think, Ryan, to answer, because it's something we can't scale or we just have just chosen not to for some reason, I think that maybe the case study thing is just kind of I don't know, it's just kind of a way to overcome the fact that we're not spending more time in the shop during our training. But it's the best way that we can kind of apply what we've just talked about. The foundations now would show you a case study to apply it. So that's kind of interesting. You guys don't do a lot of that.
No, cool. Say, generally, if you go on a training course, you're spending your day at that training course. So you take it off of work. Some invested technicians and business owners will pay for that opportunity. As in, the business owner will pay for their technicians to go on training. It doesn't happen very often, I guess. Generally, it stands a technician to pay for their own training. So if they want to pay it themselves, obviously they are out of pocket, or that's how they see it. Some technicians anyway, because obviously they feel their business is the ones that are benefiting from it. If they can diagnose a system a lot quicker, a lot faster, using techniques that they've had to pay for to learn, then some of them a bit, I wouldn't say narrow-minded, but they get the feeling that they're not being compensated correctly for it. That they're not being given that wage increase perhaps, so they should be given, or even the businesses coming forward and paying for the hotels or the fuel to travel to and from the venues, the business or their home, whatever it may be. So I don't know what it's like over there with regards to businesses paying for training for technicians and that sort of stuff.
There's probably not enough businesses paying for training, but I'd say there's both. Same in your scenario. We have shops paying for training and we have technicians paying for training. What I've always said is that I think it's a shop's responsibility. If you're working at a shop and you like everything else about it, the only thing that you don't like is the fact that they don't see the value in training and they're not willing to invest in you in that way. You like everything else, I think it's your responsibility to pay for that and go ahead and get it, but if you don't like everything else, then I think it's still your responsibility, but maybe it's time to start looking for somebody else. There's another shop that finds value in training.
Everyone keeps slating me because of my age generally. I mean, I'm only 24, but I probably spent, I've been in this trade about 10 years now. And I probably spent most of my evenings and my nights reading documentation, how systems operate, how systems work, trying to catch up on knowledge, new systems coming out, how to test them, all that sort of stuff. So it's just as much it is a financial investment as it is a personal investment.
Sure.
You have to invest in yourself as much as you are financially in order to get the best out of it. Because as you say, if you attend a 4-hour class in the evening, if you're not putting that to practice when you're back at work or in your own spare time on a weekend perhaps, then you're not going to ever get the most out of it. So it's a case of spending as much as your own personal time as well as perhaps spending financial money in order to obtain the skills and stuff you need to.
Sure. Absolutely.
I think many technicians that are at the place where we're at, either in the social network world or whatever, are in the same boat. A lot of us have spent a lot of personal time investing in it, and we'd see it not happening with other technicians that just clock out at 5, and that's the last thing they think about.
Yep.
They don't ever pick up that again. I think that's where we're seeing the individuals that are having the difference in making it a career or just keeping it as a job.
And why is it? And how can we improve that?
Well,
You can't. I don't think you can.
I think you can. I think you can. I think that we see it. I think we see, with some of these social media groups, with the YouTube videos that we create, with the buzz that we create after attending a conference that we've had a really great time on, the buzz that we create. I think that, all of that stuff helps. It's not like a light switch. It's not overnight everybody that we know in the industry is going to start thinking, be career minded. I think it's going to be a slow thing, but I think that you can change it with some people. Some people you're not going to change.
Last year, Vision had, I think, a record-breaking
First time
attendees. So
Yeah, I don't think we're changing minds. I think we're just kind of letting them know that it's out there. Those guys probably were predispositioned already in their mind to do that if they were given that opportunity and knew that those kind of opportunities existed. But a lot of them,
we're absolutely changing minds. I mean, I don't want to say this, and even in my small, just look at your, maybe not yours, but in mine, like Carlos Mercado, and it's maybe unfair to say, but I think he would agree with me sitting next to me. Had he not come to work for me, he'd be in a different industry, and he'd be totally just like everybody else, just clocking out 5, not thinking another car until it came 8 a.m. the next day or whatever the case may be. I think of several people that I've worked with at our shop and people that aren't even still there. Joe Anderson wrote service for me for a while. When he left our shop, he ended up turning wrenches at some other shop, and now he's going to every event that he can. Not that he can afford to go to a lot, but he went to the Daytona event. He's going to as many regional classes as possible. Things that he wouldn't necessarily have done. So I do think that sometimes we get jaded and we get a little bit frustrated, but I think that it really does happen more than we let on to, I think, sometimes. Rich, I mean, you probably have a lot to say about this.
Attention.
What's that? You weren't paying attention.
I'm just kidding. I teach a couple hundred classes a year, and in some areas I have 4 people show up, and in other areas I have 40. And some guys just aren't invested in this, and it's and I get it to some extent. It's hard to come to a class after you worked all day, but you got to make that commitment. You got to, I don't know how to put it, pull down and do what you can to get to training as much as possible to keep on top of this stuff.
I personally feel proud of what we've done to change it a little bit. I believe that we're doing, we're helping in that regard. And we're not the only ones. There's a lot of our colleagues that are doing really great things. And like Ryan, I mean, I guarantee you, Brandon over there and doing what he's done, he's probably shifted some mindsets. There's some paradigm shifts with some of the professionals in that area after seeing what Brandon is capable of teaching them, and now that they can apply in their bays. I think, I don't know. It's we got to make it sexy, and I think to some degree we have, and we just got to keep on doing what we can.
So you guys think it's like an 80-10-10, like 10% of all technicians will always seek out training, 10% will never, and then kind of our job to shift those 80% the other way?
I think that's with probably anything, but that's probably a good way of looking at it.
Probably.
There's probably several that are just never going to change, but here's the thing. Like, I think, we know how much we invest time and money wise, but, and human beings tend to think all we have is our own experiences. Like, why isn't this guy, we just can't relate. Why doesn't this guy invest in time and money and make, better himself away? I think we have to realize it is what it is. He's not. So now as an industry, we have to shift ways to try to make it easier for him, whether it's daytime training or whatever. I mean, that's kind of my mindset.
I think there's a good percentage of technicians that don't even know this training exists.
Exactly.
How do we make that connection?
Probably 80%.
I think didn't you have a question for Ryan, Tommy? Oh, he's muted.
I do actually.
Here we go.
What is the perception in the UK in terms of being a technician as a profession? On this side, it's not taken too seriously.
I think he means from the general public too, right? Is that
correct? The motoring public is what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's quite sad, I guess. Probably might be similar over there. I mean, as we all are trying to do is raise customer perception and bring up the standard of what the customer sees us as. Here in the UK, how I perceive it personally is that if you get the worst grades in school, you're being a mechanic. Well, that's what you're considered to be, because it's easy. Everyone can do it. It's not hard. And it could be further from the truth. I mean, the amount of skill, technology, learning, investment you have to do in order to be good at the job is incredible. But no, from a customer's perception, they see a mechanic as a bottom end job, I guess.
So same here then. Exactly the same.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, everyone like yourselves and what we're trying to do in the UK, we're all trying to do the same thing and raise customer perception in order to get them to say, yeah, okay, it's not a bottom end job. It is quite a skilled job. You can't just jump in it and hope for the best.
Yeah. It's all what you make out of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely that. Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. If you want to be good at something, you have to invest your time, heart, soul, money, whatever it is. You have to make it happen. It's a bit like getting American trainers to come over here. It's a lot of hard work, organised, and that sort of stuff, but it's worth it at the end of it. When you see guys coming away from the training sessions that, like, say, for when Brandon put on, I had a very good friend of mine. He's been using pressure pulse analysis for about 4 years. And he said he'd never learned so much in them 8 hours than what he learned in 4 years using them testing techniques.
Very great.
So, yeah, it's a bit crazy. I mean, as far as public perception, it's frustrating sometimes having customers kind of say, oh, it's easy. The computer tells you what's wrong. There's nothing you need to do. You just plug the computer in, and as simple as that. If only it couldn't be further from the truth. Obviously, we all know that. But,
so a lot of people here also tend to have side businesses and where they'll work on cars out of their garages and stuff and home. Does that happen a lot in the UK also? Or is there some sort of, state involvement, federal? Yeah.
No, nothing at all. Unfortunately, the same as you guys. I mean, they can, there's no regulation to work on a vehicle here. Even EV vehicles, there's no regulation in some states. You have to be EV qualified in order to work on a hybrid or an EV vehicle. You could openly pop the bonnet and start taking your inverter converter off and hoping for the best. If you're jacking at the side of the road, you can carry out repairs at the side of the road with no qualifications at all. So as far as regulation goes, no, there isn't any. There needs to be, absolutely. From a safety perspective, dangerous. Especially moving towards new EV and hybrid systems. You're talking 600-700 volts on some systems. So you need to be careful what you're doing.
Of course. I met one of your country mates in Chicago, Edward, and we were chit-chatting and we had dinner. You mentioned something called MOT, I think, maybe.
MOT.
MOT.
Yeah. Is that like a state inspection? I mean, it's not state. I'm sorry, like a government inspection or
Yeah,
emission
so
inspection.
every vehicle has to have an MOT after it's 3 years old. An MOT is basically it stands for Ministry of Transport. So basically, out by the government that basically states that the vehicle has to be tested. After speaking with Brandon actually on this subject, our parameters are a lot tighter than what as far as what needs to be tested, what is actually considered a fail.
What do you,
There
is it just emission testing or is it safety inspections as well?
is safety and emissions and brakes as well. So we put in the brake rollers, check parking brake efficiency, service brake efficiency. We check all the lights, suspension, steering geometry, seat belts, seat bases, make sure corrosion. Pretty much go over the whole car, check it, make sure everything works, and it's roadworthy. That's obviously the main point of it all, making sure the vehicle's roadworthy and it's not going to break down, not going to cause an accident on the highway or the motorway.
Is there like a? Sorry, go ahead, Brid.
I was going to say, are you guys putting stuff on the roads that causes corrosion on the cars like they do during the wintertime?
Yeah, so we put salt, just like you guys down, but we don't, in the UK, you guys probably see it a lot worse than we do. Generally, it's not, in the south anyway, perhaps in the north of the country, sort of Scotland area, it's quite bad for snow and that sort of stuff, but down in the south, they put salt only when obviously it's, -1 degrees, 2 degrees, and the roads are going to start to freeze. But other than that, no, they don't add any additives or anything like that to the roads. So you guys probably see a lot more rusty vehicles than perhaps we do, but we do see quite a few full vans and stuff like that that are quite rusty and do have to extensive welding repairs.
So, like your emissions tolerances that you were talking about, in terms of what, like, do you guys actually still do? Here before we used to do a dyno test. Do you guys do that as well, or
No,
just OB, or just do like a DLC?
Yeah, so we have obviously for petrols you have an emissions test and diesels you have an emissions test. So depending on which one you're testing, diesel, for example, you have what's called an opacity value. So the specification varies depending on vehicle. They generally have a plate stamped on the vehicle somewhere, which tells the tester the opacity value it should produce. If it obviously below that, then it will pass its test. If anything's above it, it fails its test. They can also be failed here for visually excessive smoke. So if you rev the engine up and it shows any signs of black smoke, it is considered a fail. But yeah, it's okay. Generally, just to test, our stuff over here, so after speaking with Brandon, seems a lot tighter. Any warning lights on your dash display, ABS, airbag, anything like that, immediate fail. Engine light on is a failure now.
Most states here don't even have any type of inspection whatsoever.
Yeah, and the state testing is not necessarily statewide. Like I'm in Ohio, and it's only 14 of the, I think, 88 counties that we have in the entire state that actually do emissions testing.
My part of the state, the northern part of Illinois, we do emission testing, but honestly, it's a fat joke.
Yeah.
I've seen cars pass with pending codes. They're literally on the sheet, and the car will still pass the test.
Wow.
Yeah, in the state of Oklahoma, we have absolutely zero testing whatsoever anywhere in the entire state.
Yeah,
no safety, no emissions, nothing.
Hey,
no
Brandon's
IQ
there.
test.
And no IQ test. If you got a face, you got a driver's license.
All right.
Now, I know Mike has a question that he wanted to ask. Real quick, what is the cost of an MOT to get that done? And is it subsidized by the government in any way?
Good question. So the government put out a recommended retail price.
Hi guys, you hear me?
Yep. There you are.
I believe it's about £55, but a lot of shops compete on their price, and they can lower it if they want. So some shops do it for like £15, some do it for £20. Some shops do it for £45. There's no regulation to state which shop charge which price. It's completely up to the shop. A lot of shops use it as an introductory offer, so to speak. So if you have an MOT, it's £15 with a service, just to get the customers in the door, and then expect upsell on the any advisories or parts that they fill the vehicle on, for example.
Makes sense. Kind of interesting. That was the explanation of why Oklahoma lost all of its testing. Was the cost to do it was about $25 or $35, and nobody was willing to meet the mandates. So if you had a shop in Oklahoma and you were going to offer that testing, you had to have a bay open at all times, at any point in time. So you had to basically had an unproductive bay ready to accept a testing individual at any point in time. So we pretty much dwindled all the shops out of doing it because it wasn't worth the money, and then they just stopped because there was no funding for it. Couldn't get it completed.
Yeah, so they're starting to, from what I've been told and the information I've received, they've started to actually change the security of it, I guess. They're starting to, from what I've heard, install number plate recognition cameras in the vehicles and on the bays themselves, in order so that people can't cheat. So when you pull a car in, it's videoed, it's logged in automatically. You do your test and you kick the car out. Whereas some places, I've heard stories that you can rev an engine up, for example, and it exceeds the emissions value of the plate. Well, then they'll get another vehicle in next to it, and then they'll rev that engine up and make sure that that's below it, and then they'll put it through as the vehicle they're testing. So obviously they're trying to cut down on that by installing AMPR cameras and having all their equipment considered connected. So it's connected to live all the time. So you can't do that sort of stuff anymore.
Okay.
Good.
I think that Keith, to kind of follow what you're saying, I think that a lot of the times the fight to remove these, even the established programs, are to push. The reason is that they consider it a hardship on too many people. So it's like poor people tax is what they say. It's just kind of ridiculous. Brandon, you're with us.
Hey, cheerio, guys.
Is that shirt, you got your name on your shirt just in case you forgot it? You can always look down.
You know, people look at me. I'm in the airport right now. I'm in Austin, so sorry for the delay. But I mean, first of all, can you guys hear me okay? Because I don't have my regular earphones in with me.
All right.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
And hey, Ryan, how are you, sweetheart?
I'm good.
Been a
Hey
while.
now. Hey now.
Anyhow,
Hey now.
I thought I was your sweetheart.
the shirt. Well, you guys all are. You know that. The shirt. People look at me. They said, "Are you kidding me? You have your name on your T-shirt and it's surprised. You got to show them the back." It's the Train by Tech shirt.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I'm
our
having a
original.
hard time.
The original?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the original, old school.
Yeah, that's pre Keith Perkins. I didn't know those existed. Great ones.
Yeah.
Mike, real quick, you had a question, man. Fire away.
Going back to the subject of training, do you guys have parts houses over there that offer training to shops?
Yes, we do. So a lot of the big manufacturers or big part places, they do offer training to, I know Euro Car Parts, which is one that a lot of people have a lot of issues with for various reasons. They do a training plan, I believe, that you pay £1,000 and you have unlimited training for a year. I don't know the of the training, if it's actually any good as such. But usually what they do is they'll bring third-party companies in, like or Delphi, and they'll do the training on behalf of the parts vendor.
I'm calling them Delphi from now on.
Yeah.
Those guys talk funny, and they drive on the wrong side of the road too.
What do you guys call it?
Delphi.
Delphi.
Yeah.
Um,
And their fries, man. All right. Fries.
A chip, a biscuit, whatever. I don't care. Just don't call me a cracker.
Fried taters.
Brandon, we talked about when we first got on. We talked about we were hoping you were going to join us. I know you were traveling, so we were doing our best to make it work. But
Yeah, where are you at again?
I'm headed to Albuquerque. I'm going to go spend some time with Ernie and the gang.
he's on one of his 16 layovers.
Oh my God! Special thanks to Doug Montgomery for booking these flights for me.
You should have. You
Just
should
gonna call him
have.
Keith Perkins.
You should have drove.
I'm just gonna call him Keith Perkins from now on if he's gonna have that many problem with flights and layovers.
Brandon, what time did you leave
Only
this
if he gets
morning?
delayed, is it Keith Perkins?
You know,
What time did you leave this morning? Philadelphia time.
I departed Philly at 11 a.m. and
You
I
left your house though. What time?
not 8
At
a.m.
8 a.m. You're gonna get to Albuquerque at what time?
8 p.m.
8 p.m., which is 3 hours behind us, right?
You could have
Right,
gone.
so-
You could have gone to London.
That's a 15-hour flight. You could have gone to London and been hanging out with Ryan for 5 hours. No, we were first talking about how Ryan first reached out to you, I guess, and then just invited you over to do some training. So, what was your experience when you were over there?
I'll tell you what, from the moment me and Ryan first spoke, it was awesome. Just the way he approached the problem he was having with that particular car. And we did what we always do. You know, we just do what we can to help out. And the best part was Ryan, and tell me if you disagree with me, Ryan, here, but you absorbed it. I mean, you might not have been an expert at the time, but you understood what I was talking about. It just made sense then.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I think is when you are taught it or when someone shows you where you should be looking, it makes it a lot easier. If you try tackling it on your own without any initial training or someone trying to coach you along the way, I think you will struggle with that sort of stuff because it isn't the easiest thing to obtain. But if someone else is helping you along the way, it's a lot easier for sure.
Awesome. So, I mean, just from his initial invite, I really don't remember how the conversation came up, Ryan. Do you? I mean, how we talked about me coming over there. Was it just tonight? Did you just say,
I think I was getting my ass kicked. Audi. And you sort of helped out with that, and I said, look, I think I said this earlier, but basically I said to you, everyone needs to see this. They need to see how they can use these techniques in the way that you're using them.
yeah, it's coming back to me now. Sorry, this laptop sitting in my lap here. No, I mean, when we made the plans, right from the get-go, me and Ryan just hit it off, and it wasn't any kind of nerve-wracking experience. I mean, lots of people were like, make sure you get paid up front so you don't get, worked over. But it wasn't like that at all. He and I, we were like buddies right away and total trust, at least on my behalf. I think that's the same suspicion for you, Ryan. And we had a good time. It was a really good time over there. Everyone was very receptive and welcoming. And I really enjoyed my time over there. Fantastic. I wish you could all go. It was great.
You're going again soon, aren't you?
Yeah, but Ryan, February, right? And then we're doing the 3 venues in England and 2 in Ireland.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So we have 5 venues booked.
5. Wow.
So on the 3rd of February, we're in Northern Ireland you're doing a presentation there. Tuesday, we're then heading down to Southern Ireland and got a presentation there to do. That's in Cork. And then we're up to Glasgow in Scotland, in Bosch, in Motherwell. And then Wednesday, Friday, we're then heading down the country to Preston. That's at ABS Automotive, where Frank Massey and Dave Massey's place is. And then the Saturday, we're heading further down the country to James Dillon's place at Technical Topics for the final presentation. And then I was nice enough to let Brandon have a day off on the Sunday, back on the Monday.
Now, wait a minute. We're going out to dinner, you and your wife and your little one, remember?
That's right.
We're reading publicly, so you made this promise. Everybody heard this. Hey, Real quick, Hume, everybody, tell them the itinerary as far as the drive goes, because I about wet my pants when you told me you guys got to hear this.
So to begin with, I got to drive 8 hours to Ireland to meet Brandon. He's getting flown into Dublin. And then from there, it's a 4-hour drive to Northern Ireland to do our first event. And then from there, we need to drive down to Southern Ireland to do, that's an 8-hour drive. So we're in the car 3 hours to do that event. And then we've got to go from there to Scotland, which is another 8-hour drive to do that event. And then we're going to go from there down the country. It's another 4-hour drive. And then down the country one last time. That's about a 4 to 5 hour drive again. And then that's the last presentation that will be done. And then Brandon, again, he can have a day off after lacking for the week.
Are you gonna have like a rock star tour bus for this thing, or what, man?
Oh, you know what? We had a great drive the first time. I could have smacked him. He picked me up from the airport, and it seemed like we were on the road 10 minutes. And, of course, I'm looking over my right shoulder to talk to him because he's on the wrong side of the car. But behind him in the distance, we're passing a field that, just looks like any other field we'd see here in the States, but there's some strange-looking rocks standing vertically. I'm like, holy crap, is that Stonehenge? He's like, yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, it's no big deal. Like, oh, yeah.
That's cool.
But no, it was beautiful, beautiful countryside. Driving up there, I had a really good time riding with Ryan on that trip last time. I'm looking forward to it again this time.
What did you get to show him when he came here? What did you drive by super fast, like nonchalant when you were here hosting him?
Do what?
What did you drive? How did you repay? You drove him by like the Liberty Bell or whatever at 60 miles per hour. Oh, that's a
couple of drug dealers. Oh, he had his own mission. He decided he was going to take a rental car from Reading, Pennsylvania to Philly, which is about, if I had to estimate, about 50-mile drive. But he's calling me as he's on the turnpike, trying to navigate. So how do I go about paying for these tolls? I just drive through the booth. I'm like, well, no, you really get to pay the money first. And he drove through. He didn't pay. Then he got down to Philly. He's in the city, driving down one-way streets. His phone went dead, so he lost navigation. He's walking down the street asking for people if he can give them $20 so he can have their charging cord for his phone.
Mm-hmm.
So he did most of the exploring himself. Wow. I took him up. I took him up in the mountains in Reading, which is, we call them mountains. They're not that big, but way up in the sky. And we took him through town and showed him some what he would call really big houses. We got some good food. You're a fan of Dunkin' Donuts, right? Not Starbucks.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts is the best.
I got him with Dunkin' Donuts. He enjoyed it. He stuck with that all week. Yeah, Rich is shaking his head.
Well, obviously, he suffered brain damage while he was here.
Tommy, you okay, buddy?
Not because Starbucks is better, but
Tommy, how you feeling, buddy?
Sorry, I was muted, bro. I'm good, bro. You?
Sorry. Good. You're quiet. I just want to say hi.
Oh, it's...
Miss you. Love you.
I miss him.
Hey, where's Martino? Is he working? What do you think he is?
Yeah, he's got
got
a
family time.
family deal going on.
Oh, okay.
So we were just saying, this is our last get together before the end of the year, so we've got a lot to talk about.
I feel bad. I don't have a hat on or anything. Anything.
We'll let it slide this time.
This time, well, we really won't. We'll be doing some bad
Hey,
things.
Every time I see Keith, you and Brian, I don't know if that's your real settings, but in your background there,
It's not.
you have a broadcast from the bathroom. Just put a stall behind it.
That's where they've been actually the whole time.
Yeah, I'm actually in the bathroom right now.
Kind of crazy.
yeah, we just have green shower curtains.
He's just been pretty good about muting himself whenever the sounds are there.
Looks good.
So yeah, as we were saying, it's the last time we're getting together. Should we talk about Super Saturday?
Heck yeah.
Sure.
Go, Tommy.
I enjoyed my 24-hour car ride.
What about your cheesesteak?
Italian beef is better.
I
Sorry.
agree. I agree.
All right, I'm just
But-
gonna say every time I've come to Philly, I'm sorry, but I have to have a Philly cheesesteak regular with cheese whiz and marinara. For whatever reason, I got to do all three.
All three?
all
I don't
three.
know that.
Every time I do one, I'm like, oh, I missed the other one.
I'm hoping for next year I can go there a little earlier so we can spend some time.
Yeah.
It's always
definitely.
it feels just too rushed, man.
Yeah.
But the time constraints this year were pretty tight. But man, the card ride there was pretty fun, right, Brian?
Yeah. Oh
How
yeah.
did Nick,
Uh,
Brian, how'd Nikki tolerate you guys?
She did really well. she's got lots of stories about it. My poor wife.
yeah, I felt bad for her too.
What a trooper.
Yeah, she sure is.
Who was with you guys? You, Brian, Nikki, and Tommy?
Yeah,
Or Mike, I mean?
my
And,
lead guy Caesar and
yeah.
Mike.
Damn, that's a
So
full load, man.
4 guys, 1 girl.
Oh, that's right. You guys got a Suburban or something.
Yeah,
Expedition.
expedition that drove impressively well.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's something we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to get Ryan down here in the southern part and just let him drive a whole bunch of giant lifted trucks. 'Cause I don't think he has those over there.
Edward,
With testicles hanging off the bone.
Big old
Edward-
truck nuts.
Edward
Roll
actually
Colt.
did it really well. He I think when he flew into Toronto, then flew to Cali and hung out with Scott Brown, and then drove to Colorado. And
2, right?
yeah, his mistake was taking the train from Denver to Chicago.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Damn. That's what, a week-long trip?
No, I think it was like what 2 days. I think 2 full days maybe, or a day and a half or something. I don't recall, but I know trains here kind of suck. But yeah, he definitely got a good tour of the country.
Yeah.
He said, "Bloody hell, what I've got myself into now."
Eh,
What did you take him, Tommy?
he wanted. I couldn't really take him to where I wanted to, but I took him to a steakhouse by the shop, Argentinian steakhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a nice meal. Then I took him downtown, give him a small tour. Then the next day he went to the Home Alone house.
The Home Alone? Oh, from the movie?
Yeah.
Thought that was in New York.
No, that was
Part
part
2.
two.
Oh yeah. All right.
Well, your class sucked, though, at Super Saturday. Didn't it, Tommy?
My class?
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to steal Keith's show, but man, he wouldn't let me.
Whatever.
That was the hardest part about being teaching, because I wanted to go see you and Brent.
Yeah.
We had a good time, man. I enjoyed
Yeah.
myself. I can probably never teach that again. Actually, I'm pretty sure.
It was
Things went
definitely
really well.
for me. It was the experience for me was really well because it'll hopefully set the stage for further involvement with Train by Techs in the industry, and maybe we'll have some surprises for you guys in the following year or two.
That's the plan. I like.
I will say having Tommy in the class was good though. I did have a get to bounce. We had some fun used module conversations.
We sure did.
Can't do that. Yes, you can. Can't do that. Yes, you can.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't even that. It was more how can we do this? And between the two of us, we were able to explain to anyone how you could do something that somebody else said was impossible.
Hey, Keith, I want to ask you a quick question, if you don't mind, regarding programming. It's kind of offbeat here, but a quick question. I was involved in a 07 Suzuki XL. XL9.
Weren't you supposed to call me the XL7?
Yeah. Well, I didn't do it because the computer that the girl said she had prepped and ready to go was doing a Windows update. It took 20 minutes to get to 2%. I'm like, heck this.
Oh Lord.
You threw it over the phone. So GM couldn't find the VIN, and it was a Canadian-built car. So I wasn't sure, is it because it's Canadian or because of the year? What do you think, Mike?
The answer to that is yes to both, actually.
Yeah.
Because it was
Being
Canadian.
Canadian is a
It's
problem,
because it's Canadian.
and the year is a problem as well. What year was it? Because I think I remember having this conversation.
07.
It was an 07. and GM said she found a bulletin, or I told her to call technical assistance and see if that VIN is even doable. And they couldn't find it. It issued what the heck was it, E4396 code or something like that? I can't remember the number actually.
Yeah, probably a 4399.
And it said basically, can't find the VIN, like it doesn't exist. There's no software for that VIN. That's what it said.
Right. It probably
you
had
have
nothing to
to
do with it
use-
being an 07. It's just because it was Canadian.
Yeah, you have to use SDP on that, and more than likely it's got a mobilizer. Canadian cars, Canadian Suzuki's have a mobilizer where the American versions do not.
Okay.
I ran into that problem through an auction card and found out the hard way.
Yeah, but that one's the 3 points. Is that the 3.6 liter one?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, right. I did one probably like a year or so ago.
Yeah, she said she sent me a document or a screenshot of the document, and it gave specific year that they stopped coverage of that vehicle. And
Yeah,
But-
SPS stopped supporting Suzuki at a certain year, but I think the biggest problem was with Canadian. Like Mike brought up, outside of U.S. vehicles have much different immobilizer systems.
This is
So-
very true.
For instance, like a 2002 Chevrolet may have a just internal Hall effect type lock cylinder
Mhm.
for the immobilizer, and an export model may have like a PK3 pass key system. It's completely different.
Then you know what? Then I know we can edit this out, but hit me up tomorrow. We have a buddy in Canada that I'm pretty sure can help. Kevin.
she had that was a donor PCM just to see if she can get it working. I said, "Where's the original?" She said, "We don't have it." I'm like, "Here we go." So she's going to get it. She found one she's going to buy from a company pre-programmed for $175.
No, not bad then.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
cheap.
Suzuki, I think, currently offers that option on their online service. Is that you can send your PCM to them and they can send it back programmed and ready.
I think that's what she's doing. That sounds exactly what she's doing.
Stay away from Isuzu.
Huh?
Stay away from Isuzu.
Yeah.
I just saw that somewhere.
Rich.
What, Ryan?
I said Rich.
Isuzu. I said Isuzu.
Man, what did he say? I can't
And it's
understand.
Suzu.
A kazoo?
Suzu, man.
Hi, Isuzu.
You know how they pronounce truck? Laramie.
Well, that's so that's so they can differentiate between like a F-250 and a semi, though, right?
Having a lorry or having a truck.
Yeah.
A lorry, not a Laramie. Sorry, a lorry.
I was like, what's a lorry? Isn't that some slimy dude?
Rich, what about you? You were all over the place at Super Saturday, right?
I wasn't teaching, so I got the chance to bounce around and check everybody out. So I had the best seats because I sat in Keith's class. I snuck into your class. I was in John Thornton's and Brandon's class and everywhere. It was awesome. So there wasn't a single class that I sat in that I wasn't thoroughly enjoying or got something out of. Even if I was only there for 5 or 10 minutes, it was just cool to kind of check everybody out. Nice not to be teaching for once, so it was fun.
That's
I had
over
this-
now.
I had
It's
this
over now.
misconception-
Yeah,
You're going to be Vision teaching and SPX. You're going to be teaching at every conference from now on.
we'll see.
I-
When we
I
get
had
through the
this
first one.
misconception that when you started teaching and going to these events, that you'll have some downtime to go see whatever class you want. I think I have even less time, or 5 of my friends are teaching at the same time,
Yeah.
and you never get a chance. So at Vision,
But we're all teaching Friday at Vision, so it's like I can't go and sneak into anybody else's classes to check it out. So
I'm teaching Saturday, so that's where I got.
all
I can
right.
go pick any Friday class I want. So
Okay.
Thursday.
I'm
Sweet.
teaching
Oh,
just
all right.
an afternoon just on Saturday.
Hey Ryan,
So,
are you
I got all day Friday.
coming out to Vision? Are you gonna be part of the group that's coming?
I wanted to, but my little one's due. Vision's February, isn't it? Am I right?
March.
End of
March.
February, first
Yeah.
March. That's right.
Yeah.
First week of March.
yeah, March
so
5th through the 8th.
my little girl's due end of February, beginning of March. So
Oh.
be a bit
Yeah.
closer to comfort, I think.
Yeah.
Your
That'll be
wife's
rough.
doing all. Your wife's doing all the work, not you.
You already did your part.
Yeah, you could just leave early and just get a quick cab ride over.
She won't mind.
So yeah, no, I'm gonna have to give that one a miss. But I think maybe Super Saturday this year. I think they were about making it a 2-day event. So we're probably. I think I may well bring my girlfriend, wife with me, so then we can make it a bit more of a holiday as well as a training session.
Your girlfriend.
Your girlfriend has a wife?
My girlfriend's wife. Sorry.
Dude, that sounds like a blast. Are you inviting us?
It's a man with confidence right there.
Yeah, they're
One of the restaurants where they're like, if you bring your wife, you get $2 off. Bring your girlfriend, you get $5 off. Bring them both, your meal's free.
But,
Cool.
I know. There is.
You'd be eating Rocky Mountain oysters from the glass guy that way.
hey, those aren't half bad.
Oh,
He's correct. They're not half bad.
He would know.
They're only half. They're only.
Uh-oh.
That means they're
Computer
only
locked.
half bad.
Did you hear me?
It means.
The left one tastes weird.
Ryan, so someone probably needs to explain what a Rocky Mountain oyster is.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
No?
You can Google it later.
All right.
Is that a bit like Blue Waffle?
No.
Not quite as bad.
Oh boy,
Who did that to him?
probably you.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
Well, so what else do we have going on for this
They're
year?
made
I
of bull
think.
testicles, guys.
I'm glad somebody said it.
I was just gonna let it go.
Just let it go. I
would
could have
say-
said that.
I was just gonna let him Google it. But, yeah,
Well, I had to.
it's bull testicles. Yes, but it's a real meal. They're really prepared in a way for you to eat. They're an actual.
We'll take
meal.
your word for it on that.
It's a hearty meal.
I missed like the last 3 minutes. My fucking connection here crapped out.
Oh,
You
didn't miss
miss much.
Did it bull
Literally
crap out?
talking about eating bull testicles. So.
In Guatemala, they make them like ceviche.
Oh,
Ugh.
Yeah. It's pretty
that'd
good.
be pretty good. That would be
Yeah.
pretty good.
It's pretty good, actually.
Still crap.
Yeah, on like a hardcore tortilla with some.
Yeah, everyone's laughing. I always miss
Tapatio.
everything.
Did it go over your head again?
I'm gonna come back.
Doesn't have to be very
shut
tall
down
to
and
do
come
that.
back.
So it was just about 5'8".
Where'd he go? I don't see Brandon.
Oh, he
no more.
left. I didn't mean to hurt his feelings.
You missed
The
it.
little guy.
Oh.
So just for everyone's knowledge, some synonyms that are also used for Rocky Mountain oysters are cowboy caviar, Montana tenderloins, dusted nuts, swinging beef, mountain oysters, whatever you want to call them. In case anybody was wondering.
Bringing beef, I like
We're off topic, people.
Would you say
apologize.
Montana what?
Montana tenderloin.
Hey, Brandon's back.
Or tender groins, whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
Tenderloins.
oh, I
Well,
can't breathe.
What happened?
what didn't happen?
Now, I will say that here in Oklahoma, we actually call them calf fries.
Oh.
Like when you get them at a restaurant, they're just calf fries.
I am so fucking thankful. And we do not have that shit in Florida.
Oh,
Holy
you're
crap.
coming to Oklahoma at some point, and I'm going to get you some.
that.
Uh,
I don't think you're looking hard enough, Bryn. It's out there.
Northern Florida. It's basically Georgia. I'm sure you can
yeah,
find them there.
we call it LA, Lower Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I had a great time at Super Saturday. Of course, went to Vegas to help the Pico booth for Apex. That was a lot of fun, and then immediately turned around and we did the Daytona event where Richard Falco kicked some backside with his advanced driver assist, hands-on advanced driver assist. Lots of great feedback for the entire event. Of course, great feedback from Rich's, which I think we're talking about similar to Super Saturday. We're talking about trying to make it a 2-day event for next year. So keep your eye out for that. We should have some save the dates posts coming out pretty soon for that. And
That was
then,
a
of
cool
course,
event.
yeah,
Just
definitely was.
just the venue is amazing. Just to walk out of the classroom and watch cars go around the track was awesome. So
A little bit of a distraction sometimes, I guess. Brandon, did you say you had some of that?
he's
You
gone.
there?
He's gone.
Shit.
Oh, there he
No.
is.
Oh, here he comes.
Ask it fast.
Yeah.
Brandon, did you enjoy the Daytona event? You said there was some distraction with the cars. He's not. Hello?
You guys there?
Yeah.
There we go.
I lost just like the last three ever since we were talking about Rocky Mountain Oysters.
Oh, don't get back on that subject.
I had to switch. I had to switch to my hotspot. The Wi-Fi here sucks.
How was Daytona? That was the question.
Oh, it was a blast. A really good time, and being close to you and Mario and all the guys that I already know from Florida. You know, what I mean, it was almost like being at home. So, a really good experience. The only thing I found distracting a little bit was the race cars. The guys going around the racetrack. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I had a couple guys zooming out every once in a while. Yo, wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
What does anybody have any pictures from that whole police off that whole thing in New York City where everybody was?
Yeah, it's on my cover on my Facebook page.
Yeah, somebody pull that
great.
up.
Did you want to talk about that? Did I miss that too, or what?
No, he was
I
there.
didn't talk about that.
Oh, they just called DCFS for you.
That was great. Did you guys explain how that came?
No, I think we need to get the picture pulled up, and you guys can.
Yeah.
We were just
Can add
walking.
that in.
We were walking through New York City, and we just happened to see a couple of police cars, and I think it was DeFazio's idea. We all got up on the wall and put our hands up on the wall, and then the police officers got out of their car and they had fun with it. So,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they were great sports about it.
Yeah, Tommy dropped his shorts and did the milkshake, and it all helped.
Oh, I'm so.
They did ask us if we seen a little leprechaun.
Tanner wasn't there.
Tanner was there. Sorry, Tanner.
Tanner's got a funny picture he's added to his class. I won't ruin the surprise, but keep your eye out for it if you attend Tanner's turbo class.
Okay. Which is when and where?
It's a turbo lag one. I just got to ask.
Yeah, that's
What?
one of them.
Yes, it's the lag. That's the one.
Yes, I love it.
It's that one. That's pretty good. Tanner is teaching that class at Vision, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what day. Does anybody know what day off the top of their head?
I think he was teaching it Saturday because I was.
I'll tell you what. I'm sure you guys are. Tanner, that's his original specialty. Turbos, building turbos and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a decent class.
Yeah.
And what his materials are.
Well, there's certainly some interesting stuff going on at Vision this year. So,
Always.
Speaking of which, before we go into Vision, again, we haven't seen you guys since Super Saturday. So Super Saturday was a blast. They're looking to make that a 2-day event, so keep your eyes out for that. Daytona's event was really good. They're looking to make that a 2-day event, so keep your eyes out for save dates for that. ASA Colorado is doing their summit. I think it's on a Saturday, which I think is January 25th. Let's take a look. Calendar, January 20. Yeah, they do something on the 24th. I think it's like some management stuff on the 24th. And then the Saturday, the 25th, they're doing, the traditional training conference type stuff. So it's management and technical training. I think they just got the site kind of working. A little bit late to the game on that front, but so bear with them. But if you're in the area or you're interested, they've got some great classes there. So check that out. But then, of course, the big hitter for next year is going to be Vision, of course, in March. And then SPX, what is that, June?
TST. Yeah. SPX, I believe, is in June. That's going to be a monster.
SPX, of course, SPX is the World Pack Training Conference. That's going to be really, really big. I think that's in Washington D.C.
It's like a Maryland address, but it's in DC.
Yeah, it's the Baltimore Harbor.
Yeah, I believe.
It's
So, Rich, you're teaching, right?
I'm there. We're all there.
Martino's teaching there.
Chris is teaching there.
Yeah, I'm teaching there.
I'm scheduled to teach something there. I don't remember what it is, but
you guys stay tuned. It's a really exciting class I'm teaching. I'm going to be doing some 7-3 power stroke diagnosis class.
Are you really?
The point is, there's a little bit of everything. The schedule's 59 pages long. If you can't find a class you want to take, then it doesn't exist.
300 plus, I think.
300 plus.
Yeah.
That was literally one of the reasons why they did that, though. They had requests for an older diesel class, so they wanted it to be. They don't want it to be known as only the European, training. It's everything.
And I went to the one in 2018, and I was blown away at how great an event it is, how well run it is, and organized, and just, I mean, the amount of classes is just unbelievable.
And that was a monster, and it's going to be bigger than that, Rich, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like a great one not to miss.
Absolutely. If you can get there, I
so
highly recommend.
Just to correct what I said, Tanner is teaching on Thursday at Vision.
Thursday, that's right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and I do want to give props to Brent Delfell and Malbrook, both phenomenal diesel guys. Probably two of the best diesel I know of.
They're going to be doing their mediums duty right back. Yeah.
So if you're in a diesel, don't miss those.
Lots of stuff to check out. Definitely check it out. Those are some of them. And of course, Brian does a good job of keeping everybody up to speed on www.trainbytex.com with the events section. Brian, or is it on me?
Well, I on our homepage I have like a kind of like a hub now set up for 3 different tabs. One for local training, the second one for national training events, and then the third one which is going to be our classes, which will be coming soon. So.
Very cool.
So it's more of a hub now, or a little easier to pull up the different tabs. But you can find everything on there. If there's anything that anyone knows about that's not on there,
let us know.
Let me know for sure.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But we do want to speak back. You kind of walked through the date. Well, you didn't say the dates though. You were talking Wednesday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So I know that we'll probably post some links and some of the information and schedule in the in the tech comments area of this video. But Ryan, when you discuss the dates for Brandon, would you mention the dates and where to go to find the to register and all that?
Yeah, sure. So the dates are, the 3rd of February on the Monday, that is our Northern Ireland event. That's at Downpatrick. The postcode is BT306ND. The second event is on the Tuesday, the 4th of February, 2020. That's in Southern Ireland at JNS Automotive Distributors in Little Island and Cork. The third event is on the Wednesday, the 5th of February. That's in Scotland at Bosch Training Centre in Motherwell. The fourth event is on the Friday. That's on the 7th of February at ADS Automotive with Frank Massey and Dave Massey's in their workshop. And then finally, Saturday, the 8th of February at James Dillon's place in Tech Topics down south of the country. All tickets are available via my website. I'm sure the guys will put a link on here. It's www.elitediagnosticsolutions.com. And you can buy tickets directly from there. Currently, the Southern event in James's place is sold out. The Northern event in Ireland is also sold out. And the Midlands event is close to selling out. So we got a few. There's a few tickets left for the Scotland event, and there's a few tickets left for the Southern Ireland event. But be quick, guys, because they're going fast. A lot of the guys already booked on it from last year. After seeing what Brandon's course was, everyone's pretty much, quite a lot of guys are double booked. So they booked again this year to watch it again.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Totally unlike here, where everybody registers the last minute for stuff. You guys have some pretty cool people jumping on it. Yeah, we'll if we haven't already done so, I'll speak for Brian. Brian will totally put a link up.
Absolutely. I got nothing better to do.
Thanks, Brian.
We appreciate all your help with that, with everything, Ryan. That's no easy feat.
No, it's very cool.
That's organization.
Excited about it. So, well, I'm kind of tapped at this point, so I'm going to probably bow out pretty soon. But anything else we need to kind of wrap this thing up with the final meeting for the year?
I got one thing. I would recommend everybody going to the Pico website and signing up for their newsletter, because thanks to following the Pico newsletter, there it is.
There you go.
I got a WPS kit by just following them. Thank God I saw the second email, because when you get an email that says you won something, you instantly ignore it. I want to thank Pico for sending me WPS. It's already in a class. I already collected some data that is going in a class I'm writing, so I can't thank them enough.
Awesome.
And I'll bring it around to classes so we can all.
Is it signed by Frank Massey?
It is not, but maybe one day I'll get over there and get his autograph. So, but that's it for me.
Very cool.
I'll see everybody in 2020 in all of my classes. So go to ctionline.com and check out everywhere I am in the Southeast, or any classes anywhere, because we got a bunch of great instructors across the country that are worth checking out.
Very fortunate. We do have a lot of training available in this country.
Yeah.
I think. And if there's some pockets that don't get a lot, which is sucks, but there's always
Like
something.
Brian's.
Yeah. Well, he gets ATG. How far do you have to drive for ATG, Brian?
About a half hour.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. But the last one got canceled.
Yeah. So did ours, unfortunately.
Attendance was too low, so got to get more people there.
Our next one, by the way, if you're in the Florida area, Melbourne area, I should say, our next one is February 19th and 20th, I believe, is their latest hybrid class. And Richard was supposed to come out. When? Did you reschedule your?
What, my Cocoa Beach?
Yeah.
No, that's it's been rescheduled. I don't have a date yet.
Oh. Okay.
So there it is. There's great training everywhere. No excuses.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And Brian alluded to it a moment ago on our website. We're going to have an area for our classes. We already have some that we can do. So if you guys want some of that stuff in your area, get it organized and give us a call, and we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was thinking as well, guys, that if a lot of you guys obviously do training over there. I'd be happy to host you guys if you were happy to come over. I know I've been in talks with a few guys over your way. Don't want to name any names yet, because obviously we're still organising things. Bryn obviously knows who I'm talking about, but
we can safely say it's a big deal.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Keep your eyes and ears open.
That's right, absolutely. So again, I'm trying to get as many of you guys over here as we can, and vice versa, bring some of our trainers over to you guys, because at the end of the day, we can all learn something from each and every one of us. No one knows everything, and there's always something to learn.
Absolutely.
And I would like to add to that excitement, if you don't mind. I too have been in discussion with some key UK instructors who have already agreed to come out. So plans are in the works. So lots of exciting times for the stateside as well.
Hell yeah. It's really freaking awesome. I mean, we have a few people that we're going to invite from over there in the UK on to chat, because I think we all agree, we're just excited to be able to to be able to reach out, and that the relationships they're just everywhere. I mean, that it's a worldwide kind of family, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool.
Yep.
So that's it for me. Brandon, which city are you going next before Albuquerque?
Let's see. I board my plane in about an hour. No, less than an hour.
To go to
and-
Boston?
No, yeah. DF. And then from there to Albuquerque. So 8 o'clock. What time zone is that?
I think it's Mountain.
Mountain time.
Mountain? Is that Mountain? Yeah. So 8 o'clock Mountain time. I'll be there.
All right.
No.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Always a
We
pleasure.
look forward to seeing you next year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Absolutely.
Merry
Ryan.
Christmas.
Happy
Merry Christmas.
holidays.
There's
Ryan,
copyright.
please
Didn't your last singing video get removed?
give Ashley and that little one our regards, will you? Ryan?
Yeah, thanks for that, Brandon.
You got it, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty. I'll catch up with you clowns.
Alrighty.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Bye. Thanks,
All right. Thanks for joining us, Ryan.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
See ya.